Good morning. This is Rebecca Ricks. I'm here with The Brew and with my awesome yummy cup of coffee. I think this morning it's caramel with caramel creamer, so we got a lot of caramel going on. But I am just getting back into town. So do you ever have those mornings like after vacation where it feels super rushed? Everything feels rushed in the morning. I'm having one of those mornings. But I'm uber excited about what we are talking about today, and a lot of things we have. So remember, this is part of our blog, The Brew. And a brew is a mixture of people, events, or places that come together to form a more potent whole. And so that's what we want to do, make sure that we join together and be a potent part of your whole family and everything that you have with that. Okay, with that being said, we have a lot to go over today, and I don't want to keep y'all too long. And I have some exciting things to do. Let me take a sip of my coffee first. And then we will get started here. All right, so when you are planning out your school year, I have found this will be my 16th year teaching. I know, it seems like a long time. I was 12 when I started teaching. I know everybody says that. It's a really lame joke, but the older you get, the funnier it kind of becomes. So, yeah, someone said they're grabbing coffee. Yes, you have to have your coffee while you sit and relax and listen. Okay, so planning out your school year. I have found that if you aim at nothing, you pretty much hit it every time. You know, and I'll say that again. If you aim at nothing, you pretty much hit it every time. Have any of you ever gotten through, and I've done this as a teacher, in a classroom. I mean, it happens to everybody. And what happens is we're going to go out and we're going to take over the world, and we're going to start school, and we start really, really hard. And then halfway through the school year, you're like, what? I'm only on like week 4. Okay, because we spend too much time on each concept or spend too much time on each thing. So this is actually going to be a 2-part segment I'll have today, and then Thursday morning I'll go over it some more. But you're not the only one who's done that. We've all done that. So I have found really in teaching for years, if I personally don't plan it out, I will get nowhere. I will stop on a certain subject and stay on that for a million years. You know, because there's certain topics I like. The worst, I think, is history. Like sometimes when you're teaching history, you'll stop, and history's so deep you can never get to the bottom of it. So once you started, once you start in that, you know, sometimes if you don't have it planned out what you really want to cover for your year. So I have 3 things here, one big resource we're going to put on the blog today, and I'm going to go over again on Thursday how to use it. But this right here is this really awesome, and I know it's backwards on here, but it is planning your school year, a calendar layout provided by the Homeschool Connection. This was created by our awesome in-house. If you do any tutoring with us, if you do live stream tutoring or on-campus tutoring, you talk to Maida Cruz, but she's also like an amazing graphic designer. I don't know what you would call it, designer person. If you ever come in our building or you look and you see the chalkboards, she does those by hand and they look amazing. You know, she just does them freehand. Well, she designed this for us, so we're going to go through this a little bit quickly. So I personally would pull out something like this, a planner to help me plan. So this will be on the blog today. You can print it out and we'll go over it again on Thursday. And then I also like to have handy for me, it's just a monthly calendar. So these are just sheets. I went to a free printable calendar, monthly calendar. Okay, first thing I do, now we here go Labor Day to Memorial Day. There's 36 weeks between Labor Day and Memorial Day, which is, if you do 5 days a week, 180 days. So traditionally, a traditional school would have 36 weeks. And the 36 weeks were divided into 4 9-week periods, and those 9-week periods are divided into 3 weeks for testing quizzes. So you kind of, whether you want to do it that way or not, traditionally that's how we've set up classes. That's where the 36 weeks, and if you take a week for Thanksgiving and 2 weeks for Christmas and a week for spring break, There's exactly 36 weeks between Labor Day and Memorial Day, which has always kind of been, well, we actually have to come back the week after Memorial Day, the week of Memorial Day. So that has traditionally been how school is. So that's what we like to do because, you know, I like my summer too. I like Labor Day to Memorial Day. It gives us time to plan. So whenever I'm planning out a school year, I pull this up. First thing I do is I go through on this calendar and I mark everything that I know that I am not going to be there for, or I'm not going to count as a school day. So for you and your family, you might say, we don't school on birthdays. Cross out birthdays. We don't school on National Coffee Day. I don't know what day that is, but I think that would be a good holiday. We don't school on my birthday or anniversary. I mean, there's things, that's why you homeschool, so you have the flexibility to do it. We're going to be on vacation for this week. We're going to field trips. That's a big one. I put field trips in on my calendar that I know ahead. And you don't always know ahead, but then you put them ahead. Now, a lot of homeschoolers will block out every Friday. And that is not a bad idea because then your extra days, you always have Friday as an extra day to school, or you're not counting it as a school day. You know, that's a good way to do it. Another thing that I do, and this is just me personally doing, I go through, and if you can see here on the calendar, I know it's backward, I put the weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the dates for each week. I do that because it makes me more organized. I like to, or on this calendar too, you can list week 1, blah, 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 how many weeks. You know, in Florida, we're not required to homeschool for a certain number of days or weeks, but I've just found if you're trying to break down a curriculum, make sure you finish a certain thing, you want to make sure you do that. So I'm going to take out this planner here and we're going to go through it again, hopefully on Thursday. I would really suggest you have maybe, I'm going to go through a particular curriculum and break it down and show you how to fill this out with this. But you know, I've also found out that as a teacher, I don't want to say lazy, but we become more and more lazy with it because we have curriculums that have already been broken down, tell us exactly what to say on what days. And then when we're trying to readjust, it's hard for us because sometimes we don't know how to do that because we've never had to do it. They've taken the thinking and planning out for us. So the very first page in this would be a yearly goal. Okay, now this paper lists for us 7 yearly goals. And on the bottom here we have a quote that I really like. It says, "Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal." So really success is completing a goal. So what is your goal for this school year? And it's okay to have different goals for different years. A goal for math. So really we have 7 here, and maybe you have a goal for each subject. Sit down and think, okay, what is my goal for my students to know, my class to know? What is my goal? Maybe you're doing 3rd grade math, and your goal for that math is at the end of 3rd grade, I want to know my multiplication tables. That is a great goal. That is a great goal. You know how many kids don't know their multiplication tables? Or I want to know 1 through 5 really well. It doesn't matter how much bookwork we get done, we're going to have our multiplication tables done. Maybe a goal for 4th grade history. At the end of 4th grade history, we're going to know all the states and capitals. Great goal. Achievable goal. An attainable goal. Okay, a goal that might not be attainable is we're going to finish every page in our math book. All right, I don't know very many teachers or people who finish every page in their math book. It is possible, it is, but I don't know a lot of people who finish every single page. I'm going to get through every single thing in my history book. Okay, well, history and science, I think that is attainable. I usually try to finish my history and science books and I can get them done. But sometimes in math and grammar, you don't want to drive faster than your angel can fly. So what does that mean? You don't want to go so fast that your child isn't understanding a concept. It's okay to stop and pause sometimes, because sometimes you got to stop and pause. So I go through, and so this is a printable sheet. You can print one, goal 1 through 7, and you can, print this out for each child, put each subject, and kind of think, what do I want to accomplish this year? Do I want to finish the whole thing? Do I want them to really know something? I want to finish this. I want to make sure we read all these books. What are your personal goals for your child for that subject? Really, and when I break down a class, I kind of sit down and think of that. Okay, I'm going to teach Algebra 1. What is my specific goal for Algebra 1? Okay, I know what chapter I need to get to for them to be ready for Algebra 2. So sometimes you... The next is, whoops. I don't know why the camera does that sometimes. It just decides that it wants to look the other way and it flips over out. Sorry, guys. Okay, so now you want to start planning out your school year. Once you have a year goal, you might want to break that down into, and our second here is semester goals. Okay, semester 1. Now, on the bottom here, it has a little note. This semester includes both Thanksgiving and Christmas. Remember to plan around these times. All right, so when you're breaking down your semesters, where do you want to be halfway through the school year? All right, and remember, we do have Christmas and Thanksgiving. Okay, so when you're breaking down for Christmas and Thanksgiving, you've got to plan that too. So this sheet's kind of for that. Where do I want to be at the end of Christmas? Where do I want to be at the end of Thanksgiving? Now, semester 2, we have that. Where do I want to be at the end of the year? So halfway through. Now, for some classes, let me step back and say this. For some classes, specifically for me, because I'm an upper math teacher and that's my, I've taught a lot of different things, but specifically for upper math, I try not to go to, I try to make semester goals and try to reach them. Now, here's the thing. Depending on the class and the student, I might have to slow down to facilitate that student, and that's okay. Because I have always found in the 5 million, I don't know how many kids I've taught classes to, but I have found that usually classes that students will compensate. Okay, so I might have a class who is really, really good, let's say 4th grade math. 4th grade math is a lot of fractions. It is fraction. Some things in fractions, kids will get like this, and other kids will struggle with that. Some things, so you just kind of adjust. I have found usually if I have semester goals, I can usually hit those. Even if I have to slow down for something, there will be other things that will be easier for them to understand. Same thing in algebra. We might have to go really slow at the beginning to make sure I get all their basics in for Algebra 1 or Algebra 2, but there's going to be certain things in Algebra 2 that we're just going to be able to whip through that some people aren't going to be able to whip through, that kids are just going to get. I know it sounds weird, but different things. Grammar. The only class that you can be really, really structured with are history and science. You can almost always stay on that and say, okay, here's where I want to be, here's what I want to do. And these goals can be as simple as page numbers or lesson plans. Here's one for upper elementary, and I think this was a math, and as you can see, I just put page numbers, page 1 through 3, 4, 5, 6, and I went through and mapped out my whole year with just page numbers because that's what made sense to me. I don't need to type out everything. I know what pages I want to be on those days. And then you want to make sure you do your halfway checkup. Where do I want to be halfway? Then I break down my semester into 9 weeks, okay? And then I break that down into 3-week goals. If you are doing tests or quizzes, typically you want to do a test every 3 weeks. Every 3 weeks you give a test so that you are spreading those tests out. There's not a bunch of tests at the end. So this here is a 3-week goals, okay? At the end of 3 weeks, is 9 weeks. And like I said, I'm going to have a book, and we're going to break this down on Thursday. 3 week, 6 weeks, 9 weeks. Now, there's 2 different ways you can do this. You can sit down and break down your entire year. For a subject like history or science, I would really recommend that, because I have personally found that for history and science, I will wander. I wonder, and I won't, and I'll spend too much time on one subject, and then I have to hurry up through something else. So if I kind of pace myself, a pacing guide, most curriculums come with pacing guides, but I don't always follow those, because there are certain things that I personally like to spend a little more time on than others. So this really helps you with that when you're looking through the book and getting familiar with it and saying, oh look, we're doing world history, and there's a big section on Chinese, the dynasties, and I personally really like to study the Chinese dynasties, or I've never really studied them, I want to take a little bit extra time. Put it in your plan here. You know, I'm going to do tests and quizzes. If I'm going to do tests and quizzes, then I'm going to do it every 3 weeks. I'm going to have a test. Every other week I'm going to have a test. So week 2, 4, 6, 8, I'm going to have a test. In week 9, I'm going to have a 9-week exam. Some curriculums are set up that you have weekly tests or just weekly quizzes. You know, however that curriculum is set, put it on here and plan out for each subject where you want to be and what your goal is. This really, really helps you for that. And then you can even break those 3-week downs, 3 weeks, into weekly goals. Okay, so week 1, I'm going to get to this page number. So a goal can be a page number, a goal can be a concept, a goal can be a lesson number. Great example, IEW. If you're using an IEW curriculum, sometimes in the front of the book it'll say for a co-op, for 1 day a week, for 2 day a week. It'll say how far out you want to spread this out. So that kind of goes to with your beginning, like how far out I want to spread this, how much I really want to deeply go into it, you know, what your personal goals are for those things. So this will bring you into a weekly goals. So hopefully we'll have this printed out when we go over it on Thursday again. And then I finish my yearly goals and come back and look at them and reassess. So really, when you're planning out your school year, it's kind of going to be, I don't want to say a revolving door, because that kind of sounds, you know, but that's not what I'm saying. But you're always going to be re-evaluating yourself, re-evaluating your child, re-planning that school year. For most classes, you're going to do 3 weeks at a time. I personally plan out an entire school year for each class that I'm teaching, and I have taught a crazy amount of classes before. Things that I know that I need to keep myself on track of: spelling, history, science, reading. I plan those out very, very, very specifically for the entire year so that I will stay on track. Now, it takes a little bit at the beginning, but I find I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the year, and I know where I am. I just look on my paper. Oh, where am I supposed to be today? Oh, look, yesterday we took off. Okay, that means today I need to do a little bit extra. Oh, Friday I usually take off. We're going to catch up a little bit on Friday. Then you know where your goal is. So that's kind of my end goal there, is to make sure I keep on track. So I don't know what happened there for a minute. Let me preface it by saying that I am not a super organized person. Please don't tell anybody, but I'm not super duper organized. I try to be super duper organized, so I have to make myself be super duper organized. This will help me be super duper organized. And we're back. So Thursday at 9:30 we will start. I'm going to bring an English curriculum, and I'm going to break it down for the year so you can see kind of how I would break it down for the year. I'm going to do a book, several books that I know how many chapters there are, and break it down for the year. And that's kind of my plan for Thursday. If you have specific questions, you can either post it here, post it on the blog questions, and I will make sure I go over it on Thursday. All right, and if you want to watch the full video and get the handouts and the other things that we have listed there, it's www.thehomeschoolconnection.net. It should already be on there. It's under the blog, The Brew, and that handout should be right there. And if you can, we are trying to get to 5,000 followers on our Facebook page. So if you don't mind liking and sharing our page and having others come and like and share if you felt like it was worth your time, and we'd appreciate it. All right, I will see you all on Thursday at 9:30ish, same bat time, same bat channel. All right, hope y'all have a great day. Go drink another cup of coffee. All right, finish up this one, start another pot. All right, y'all have a great day.